When your body goes into water, you become one with it. Think about a baby. A baby is submerged in water. It is one with the mother. It is one with that water. Water is the secret. Hydrogen is the secret. It's going to change the world, man.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. All right, guys, we got Greg, aka the Hydrogen Man. He is here to bust some myths, especially about hydrogen, because there's a lot of them right now, right?
Oh my gosh, man, there's just so much.
Yeah, we were just talking before.
Okay, so the whole reason I'm looking to go to Japan, there's a few things that I can't say, but hot springs. So I don't know, for people who don't know, the Japanese are obsessed with hot springs. Did you know that?
No.
Dude, they're like 7-Elevens, are everywhere. They've dug for so many hot springs that even their government's like, you need to stop because they're everywhere. Now, why are hot springs magical? Remember, the earth, we're part of Mother Nature, Mother Earth. I mean, this body is part of it. Okay. And so this is part of the method to get, you have to go into these deep meditations and you have to prepare the body. There's a method to the whole thing.
Yeah.
And this is where I actually think where baptism's all about, but people totally don't understand baptism. They think it's just putting the water over your head or dunking you in water, whatever. And I've done this already. If you get in hot water, it affects your body. And do you know about osmosis with minerals in the body and hot springs?
Not really.
So this is how simple it is. When your body goes into water, you become one with it. And that's why if you run electricity through the water, it runs through you. You become one. Think about a baby. A baby is submerged in water. It is one with the mother. It is one with that water.
Right.
Water is the secret. Hydrogen is the secret. I mean, we're talking about the big secret of the age of Aquarius that's coming for mankind and the golden age that it's bringing. It's going to change the world, man.
I'm excited. I'm an Aquarius.
Oh my God, look at what? And you're wearing the color of hydrogen because,
I know, right?
Because oxygen, remember I was saying death is oxygen?
Yeah.
It's depicted as the color red. The
Right.
devil, death. Okay.
Crazy.
And then hydrogen's blue, the ascension molecule in heaven and all the beautiful stuff.
So what do you think about these breathing techniques then?
They're really good. It's not bad to have oxygenation in these breathing techniques, but the thing where they fail is they haven't introduced hydrogen into it. So if you do the breathing techniques with the machine that I use, you can actually inhale pure hydrogen gas.
Oh, wow.
And I've done it. Oh my God, dude.
I need to try that. That sounds amazing, man. Because I do the Wim Hof method every morning.
I'm totally into the Wim Hof method, and that is part of it too, actually. So yes, no, it's those breathing techniques are super, super good. And the whole hot spring technique is that when you get in these really hot waters, your blood vessels open up. And that's why if you've ever been in a sauna or hot springs, you're like, like you're breathing hard and blood pressure changes. But what happens when you go into super cold water from the hot water into cold? Your blood vessels go like this, and something happens. The frequency at which your blood is moving super slows down, and you go into, hence the title of this book, super peaceful state. Dude, peace is the key. That's why Jesus would always tell everybody, peace be with you. He didn't even tell you to God be with you.
Yeah.
He said, peace be with you, because peace is your way to God.
That is interesting. There must be something there, because when I take a hot bath or hot sauna, I actually close my eyes and I hallucinate.
Yep. Dude, and you haven't even gone into the cold yet after that.
No, I haven't.
And so there is a technique. That's the reason that I'm actually looking to go to Japan, because I've been preparing my body for over 7 years. You have to prepare the body.
Wow.
And it takes at least 7 years.
7 years?
Yeah, because the body has a cycle. So like, for example, the skin that you have right now is not the same skin it was 3 to 6 weeks ago.
So it's a whole new layer, like a snake?
It's dying and regenerating. So your body is actually moving like a river. It's a flow. It's a flow, yes. And it's not just your skin. It's your skin, your eyes, the tissues in your GI system. All of it's moving at different rates. And it takes about 7 years to rebuild the body.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
They say your taste buds change every 7 years too.
And taste buds, I've done with my own parents, man.
Yeah.
My parents would go to restaurants and they would, whatever, eat the food, drink the water. And I was like, I want them to be healthy, right? So I showed them how to purify water and put the hydrogen in it. Within 1 month, I remember my mom calling me and she's like, you have totally ruined me. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, I can't drink water from a restaurant anymore. It tastes like cold water.
Tap water?
It changes your taste buds. And all this process of transforming, I hate to say it takes about 7 years to transform the body. I've been prepping myself for a while.
That's a long time.
That's where the whole monk thing comes into it. You take things to a whole other level.
Yeah. So how long are you meditating per day?
Oh man, I meditate for hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of discipline.
But at some point you begin to love it.
Yeah.
And then at some point, there's a difference between meditation is actually kind of a vague word. You can meditate, but then you go into what's called deep meditation. When you go into the real deep realms, that's when you figure out how to open the door, the hydrogen to the other worlds, to the cosmos, to the stars,
Right.
to the real language. I mean, you actually, I wasn't sure if I should say this, but you actually get to meet the Almighty himself.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I know nobody's met him yet because I know what he looks like. I know what he sounds like. I've met him. And not only that, this is what blew my mind. That's how I knew this book was real, because the guy named Jesus in this book, he describes him, and he described him correctly. That's why when I was like, holy cow, like this was a huge revelation for me, because I've never heard one person anywhere describe him correctly at all.
Because they say it's like a brown hair, beard, and
no,
right.
He doesn't look like a human. It's not even human. I could tell you what he looks like, but I'm not sure if I should say it.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't spoil that one yet.
Yeah, I mean, I could bring it up someday if you want, but yeah, it's not what you think it is. In fact, it's so far beyond what your idea is of him that you won't recognize him. See, that's what blew my mind about this book. When Jesus was talking about God, he said, he described him, and then he said, if you did but know it, meaning like if you even realize that was him, because he's not in human shape.
Wow. Did you ask him anything?
Oh my gosh, so much stuff. Well, the truth is that if you really understand like baptism, so when Jesus spoke about baptism in the Bible, he said something very clear. He said, you must be born again, which is the baptism of the flesh and of the spirit. And he also said of water. And ultimately he said the wind, because he said it's like the wind, which is a gas. So the key is water and gases. That's actually the answer. That's why hydrogen gas or even oxygen's a gas, but our blood is water. Our blood is carrying it all over the place.
Wow.
And so did I go into water? Yes. But then when I went to God, I was baptized in him, actually. I literally walked into him. Okay, I'm going to tell you what he looks like. I don't know if I should do this. You sure?
Yeah, this is what God looks like.
He is a massive, so big you can't even begin to imagine. Like forget planet Earth, forget the oceans, like massive. He looks like a river. So it looks like water. So it looks like a river, but it's made of like rainbows and all these colors and like stars, and it's just a massive, and it's constant information.
Wow.
And when I say information, it's flowing data. Like we're talking like billions and billions of things every nanosecond, not even 1 second. It was too much information.
Holy crap.
It just totally, I couldn't absorb because it was too much. And so I just laid in him. Like I literally laid into him like I was laying into the river. And then all the stuff at some point I just had to release and let go and be like, just flow through me. And then what I realized after I did that, all the stuff that I had taken in began to come to me every day. Every day I would get like downloads. Yeah. Because I'd already taken all the information in, and I've been getting downloads every single day for years. That's
how it works with spiritual information, I heard.
It's massive, dude.
Just random downloads. You never know when.
But the biggest thing is not even what he looks like. It's what he sounds like.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Was it telekinesis or was it a voice?
It's beyond a voice. It's a sound that's the one. I don't know why I should go with that one yet. But what I can tell you is that the frequency sound opens up something within you. So it begins to open up like a line of communication. But he has a sound, and it changes everything, and to the point where your vision will go. Wow. Meaning like you'll be thinking you're sitting with someone, and if he were to come in, like you can't even see them anymore. Like you go into like other realms and your eyes are like this, and it's just wild.
Frequency needs to be talked about more. I had a doctor on yesterday who played certain frequencies that got rid of diseases. Yes, there is some scientific data for that, but it hasn't been perfected yet. That's why all the frequency technologies that they try to promote for health are just, I'm skeptical. Gray area. Yeah, because it hasn't been perfected yet. But yes, absolutely. I mean, they already show frequencies affecting cancer cells, and I've seen the data on that. Yeah, that's exciting. But it can be used in the other way too, right? With music and stuff. Yeah, and that's why it can be dangerous. Frequencies can also be dangerous. And in the end, I really think that, I really think there's something evil going on the planet. That's why when you look at what's in our water, when you look at what's in the air, when you look at what's in our food, like they're trying to actually disrupt the connection to source or God himself. Because when you do that, you don't know who you are. Yeah. And when you don't know who you are and you start judging people on stupid things like we were talking about, like the world is so separated and fragmented these days when we're actually supposed to be like loving each other and like it's all the good things, right? And then we could really make leaps and bounds. And that's what I would want to do. And I think even you're potentially an avenue for that, to just make these connections so that we can do things that will, once you get connection to source and you see clearly, dude, once you see clearly, they can't fool you. That's my mission. I wasn't gifted enough to connect directly, but I was connected to source through a medium. And I really found out my soul's purpose. And I think that at some point, I know that you can connect yourself. I hope so. That's my goal. And that's honestly way better than going through a medium. That's been my goal since I was a teenager, honestly. We'll have to talk about that. And it was I didn't even know that it was my goal, but that high
thing that I went through when I was a very young kid.
Yeah.
And I was just looking for happiness. I didn't know that looking for happiness would lead down this road.
Wow.
And that's what happened. And then of course it led to sickness too. And I didn't think that would lead down this road. And so if my suffering can lead to something good, it's very hard for me to say this, but it was worth the price. And I have a really hard time saying that because the suffering I've endured, man, it's just like, if I talk about it enough, I'll like start crying. I'm scared. I know I'm scared.
Years of level 10 pain, you said.
Oh
so
my God, dude.
Can't imagine.
Destroys you. Talk to any sick person that has been in pain for a long time. It destroys your mind. It rewires you. And it's hard to be patient and loving and at peace when you're...
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys. Right.
You're in pain.
Probably destroyed your relationships too.
It destroyed everything. I lost everything. I lost my job. I lost my house. I even lost my wife. I lost everything. Yeah. Sounds like an old country song. I mean, I lost everything. It ruined my life.
That's scary, man. But I think what's going to come out of it is going to be...
That's the thing that I'm hopeful for. I don't want my suffering to be for nothing. Yeah. I want it to be for something good.
I think you're going to impact generations, man. If you can achieve this thing of living to 800 to 1,000, I mean... That's
where things begin to change. And for people to be in contact with source. It's going to be really important for that. Because once you see it, no religion can fool you. No government can fool you. Nobody can tell you, oh, this is the truth. No, I've seen it. I already know what's there. Yeah. You just can't fool me anymore. You know?
Yeah, very few people are in contact with source.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. I still haven't heard actually anybody who has depicted the information correctly, other than this book, which is why it blew my mind. And it was Jesus of all people in this book. That's why I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. But it's all about purity. Purity is so important. And that's exactly what they're going after. Everything's impure. All the chemicals, like I said, they're totally poisoning us. Yeah. I think Billy understood that too. He's like, they're poisoning us.
You know, 90% of people have parasites right now?
Oh, dude, over that, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's because when I did the Parasite cleanse, I have pictures of what came out. You wouldn't even believe it. Because I wouldn't have believed it unless I saw them come out. I'm like, oh my God.
I started one today.
Oh, and I've created anti-parasite protocols. I got some wild ones, and Jesus gives one in here.
What? They were around back then?
Yeah, dude. You wouldn't even believe the methods that he's doing. And I actually used some of those methods. That's how I did it.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, this man known as Jesus or Yeshua, like he had wisdom. He knew what he was doing. And anyway, when you get them out of you, like when you really get some big ones out of you, it's like unjacks from you and you feel it literally in 1 second. So it's not like, oh, I'll feel it later. No, it's like, whoa. And then all of a sudden you feel peaceful in your head.
Amazing.
And then you can think more clearly and you're like, holy crap, I didn't realize that something was influencing me. Do they influence you? Yeah. The Science of Parasites, I told you, the Japanese have a museum. You should see the pictures. They look like monsters when they zoom in and they look at them. And the way that they influence you, they can make you crave certain foods. Like, hey, I want some cheeseburgers or whatever. And they can make you crave certain things and release certain chemicals, and they rob you of nutrients. So they're growing everywhere in your body, by the way. You have eggs in your lungs, by the way. I would say almost, oh yeah, everybody has eggs in their lungs. I hate to say it, but everybody's got eggs in their lungs. And they have like different rates at which they grow in your tissues, but the full-grown ones like to be in your GI system because that's where they eat. You're eating, and they grab all the nutrients. Right. And so we're so nutritionally deficient. And so when you so I've been doing experiments on myself for quite a few years. And I'll go get blood work, I'll get all sorts of scans. And this was so hilarious. I had a doctor call me, and she called me in the medical field, because I work there and I know what they do. They don't call you unless there's typically a problem. That's the way that it works. And so when I got the call, I got real nervous. I was like, oh my God, what'd you find in my blood? And she said, I've been doing this for like almost 3 decades. I've never seen blood like yours in my life. Wow. And she said, I had to call you. What are you doing? Like, that's what she was like, what are you doing? And then when she found out how I ate, and I don't like to go into the diet thing too much because everybody gets mad online. Yeah. It's so controversial. But when I told her how I ate, she said, that's just not possible. There's no way, because I also got tested for nutritional deficiencies. My goal is to have no deficiencies, and I don't have any. And so when she saw that, she's like, and the way you eat, she goes, that's not possible. It's possible when you eliminate the parasites. It's possible when you bring in the proper amount of fiber. It's possible when you bring in hydrogen. Yeah. And then
I can guess your diet based off what you're saying.
And then when she saw that, she's like, I just can't believe it. She said, incredible. But she goes, I want to use the method and this is the only reason doctors ever contact me. This is what's weird. It's always about their family. Yeah. She goes, I want it for my daughter. And then I had another doctor who was like, I want it for my wife and my children. Like because they know that the medical establishment is lacking. Yeah, the people who work in there. I mean, I work preventative. There, and so it's all emergency medicine and yada, yada, yada. Yeah. But, so these are all life transforming things. We can do so much good And that to me, I was telling you I was looking for happiness. I figured out really a lot of what happiness has to do is you have to figure out how to feed your soul. Like I know how to feed my body. I figured that part out. But how do you feed your soul? You feed your soul when you do things for others. That's why Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, because when you do good things for others, if I can bring information that can help people with disease or connect to source or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like when you can do something like that, that makes me feel good. That's why when we do things for others, it feels good. You know
it
what
does. I mean? Yeah, it does.
And that's
cool
priceless.
It's great to see you find that because a lot of intelligent people struggle finding happiness actually.
Man, they're always looking for the wrong ways, in my opinion, you know? But it's as simple as, and then being grateful. It's very hard to be grateful unless you've lost something that you had that you'd never lost before. That's why when I lost my health, like that's what changed me. Dude, not being able to walk and being super in pain and all this medical issues, it changes everything when you get it back. You're like, oh my God, I got it back, you know, like, and then you're so much grateful for it. Or whether it's a partner, or if you've ever gone without eating for 2 weeks and then you have food that tastes like, oh my God, like you're so grateful for this meal, or even just water.
Right.
If you haven't had water for 3 days or something.
Gratitude's very important. Do you still fear death?
Not at all. No, but I used to, I actually longed for it. Remember, I was trying to commit when I was already thinking about it highly when I was 7 or 8 years old.
Wow.
And that's probably the reason I had all the medical issues. I poisoned myself. I tried to take my own life. It's very sad, but that's what I did. And it was because I was so unhappy. The level of depression these days is so high.
At 8, that's so young too.
Yeah, and it was a problem. That, you know, that's where the psychologists, psychiatrists were like, look, this doesn't make any sense because I wasn't being abused. I had a good family and everything else. And so that became a very big problem. And so, yeah, I poisoned myself and whatnot. But what's on the other side is amazing. But here, you know how so many people are like, oh, I got to get saved so I can go to heaven. Yeah. They're thinking wrong. Because in my opinion, I already know actually, it's not even an opinion. Heaven is here. That even Jesus said it, on earth as it is in heaven. Okay. So what you actually want to do is you want to live in both realms at the same time. And I've done it already, which is why I know it exists. And it'll be greater when more do it. 2 or more in my name. Yeah. Okay. That's what the ancient scriptures say. And so you can actually be in that place and you can be in this place at the same time. It feels like you have 2 brains. I've done that before. And it's in a meditative state, but you can be in 2 places at one time. And you have the best of all what's coming from the other side and the best of what's here. But right now we're just living on this side. So we're just like in the flesh and we're living these lives. And that's why we feel empty, because the other stuff comes from the other side too. Right. But you don't want to just go to the other side. And the other side to me is like gases. Have you ever heard of well, even like actually like alcohol, but they're like gases. They call them spirits. Yeah. Spirits, right? What happens if you leave alcohol that's pure out? It just dissipates. Right. It's like a gas. There's a relationship between gases and the flesh, you know, both. And the other side is all gases. Look at the cosmos. It's almost 80% hydrogen, right? It's a gas. But there's a lot of gases out there. And when you bring them together, you can live between heaven and earth. And then that's, I think, the ultimate goal. So we would have immortality. Yeah. You know, and then someday you'll move on, but we're not supposed to die this young. That's something that's too young, not right. Way too young.
Do you think when we sleep, we're connecting to the spiritual world a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what I theorize too.
Oh, absolutely. But you want to be able to go there, but keep yourself awake just a little bit so you can figure out how to traverse the stars and really understand.
Like a lucid dream.
Yeah. And even more than that. Yeah. I mean, there's people over there who are willing to help you if your heart is in the right place. The people who seek power, they'll never get there. That's why I like Bob Marley. You know, Bob Marley, he would say something. I love Bob Marley. And he would say things like, he goes, like he was implying that God would never give the power to the bald heads. You know, all these like old politicians and, you know, these guys that are so corrupt. He's like, he'll never give the power to them. He'll never enter you unless he knows that you want the right things in your heart.
Wow. Yeah. And it takes a lot of self-discovery to get there.
It does. And so these things will come in time, but there'll be a first wave, which is the 144,000, which is why I call my YouTube channel The Uprising of the 144K, because that's the first wave of, there's going to be a certain wave of people who start it, and then eventually everybody will follow.
I love that.
Yeah. And
do you believe in heaven and hell?
Yeah. Hell is actually, I've seen that too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And hell is really just when you do things that hurt others. That is hell. I mean, think about what sin is. If you really look at the sin, like it says, don't steal from somebody. Well, that would hurt somebody, right? Don't covet somebody else's wife or sleep with somebody else's wife. That would hurt somebody. And on it goes. You know, the 10 Commandments have a lot to do with that. And so when you do that to somebody else, you're actually doing it to yourself. And so it really hurts because once you get closer to source And I've seen it myself, unfortunately. That's why it hurt me so bad, all the bad things that I've done in my life. And it's not like I've been a terrible person, but none of us are perfect.
Right.
And there's things that I've done that really hurt. And when I went into those deeper realms, you had to go to the valley of the shadow of death.
You got to face it.
You have to. And it was so painful.
Damn.
But you have to go through it before you are allowed to the door of light. It will not let you go through until you go through that first.
Got to face your demons.
You got to face your demons. Yep.
Greg, where can people buy a hydrogen machine and learn more about hydrogen?
So if they want to use the best hydrogen machine, that is the only one that I personally recommend at this time. I wish I could recommend like 10 of them. There's not 10 out there.
Yeah.
Is from holyhydrogen.com. That's the one that I use. That's the best one. That's the Japanese #1 machine in the world. If they want to use a discount code, they can use Uprising144K if they want to support my channel and what I'm trying to do. But they don't have to if they don't want to. And then what was the other question?
Where can people learn more about hydrogen?
So my channel is, everything's free. It's on YouTube and it's called Uprising144K. Uprising because the ascension molecule, hydrogen, all that stuff. 144K because of the 12 tribes of 12,000 in ancient scripture, which were the ones dressed in white, which stands for purity and light. And by the way, hydrogen is light. So the sun, right, it's made of hydrogen. And using hydrogen is a way of bringing light into your blood and bringing that life to you, you know. So anyway, that's another way they can find me. They can find me on Instagram. I think I'm under Uprising144K or the Hydrogen Man or Hydrogen Man. They can find me on Twitter or X. I will say that I'm not good at computers and I don't have any support. I've been running my whole thing off of a cheap iPhone with a $10 tripod. That's
impressive.
That's all I've done. No, I have no help because I don't know how to do computers.
We're gonna have to step it up for you, man.
And I got no funding, so that's how I've gotten.
Appreciate it. We'll link it all below. I think you're about to change a lot of lives, man. I can't wait to see your journey. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, see you next time.